Alright, quick theme before getting to the video. Just a trigger warning that there's a brief scene of attempted suicide. If you're sensitive to that and rather not see or hear that, I'll give you a timestamp so you can avoid that particular scene or narration. As someone who has dealt with this before, it's personal for me, so I just wanted to mention it since it's never easy. Just wanted to give a heads up. The next day, Rosma starts teaching our PE class. We were practicing our knife dance, and we were supposed to be staying synchronized. Koro Sensei was smelling a flower and watching us enjoy the brief moment of organization. Make those knives sing. Treat each move as if it is a legit kill strike, Kurosuma says to us. He then starts to tell Koro Sensei that he is in the way and that he doesn't teach his class. I'm starting to get a bit tired, but it could be worse. At least I'm in the back row, so most of my classmates can see how ridiculous I look at the moment. Kurosuma ends up sending Koro Sensei to the sand pit to build a sandcastle. Koro Sensei then starts to make a pile of sand, saying something about us liking him better as our PE teacher.
Yeah, not so much. No offense or anything, but when it comes to exercise,
Sugino trails off.
you tend to set the bar pretty high.
Sugino finishes, in reference to that one time when Koro Sensei made us do impossibly fast sidesteps. That was a nightmare. Like we would keep up with that, Nakamura says, remembering that lovely class.
We're human beings, you know. I, for one, think our coach should be too.
Sugino adds, making Koro Sensei go back to slouching in the sandpit.
Right, back to work, people.
Kurosuma says, redirecting our attention.
Can I ask an obvious question, sir? If there's an actual point to this training, should we be practicing right in front of our hard target?
Mayara asks.
Whatever killing you're studying, it's the same principle. Drill the basics, and they'll serve you well.
Izukai, Mayara, step up. I want you to try and tag me with those knives. Kurosuma orders.
Wait, like a team?
Izukai asks.
Do you think that's a good idea?
Mayara adds. The blades are harmless. They weren't designed to injure human beings. Tell you what, bench hit me, and you go home for the day. Kurosuma says as he loosens his tie.
Okay.
Izukai says, sounding uncertain.
Well, here goes nothing.
Mayara says before they both proceed to lunge at Kurosuma, who dodges in a single movement.
Come on.
Kurosuma urges the boys before Mayara jabs him again, but Kurosuma redirects his attack while also dodging Izukai, then proceeds to effortlessly block them both simultaneously by grabbing their forearms every time they attempt to hit him.
See that, kids? Even with the bare minimum know-how, I can practically dodge their attacks in my sleep. They got no technique.
Kurosuma says, and Mayara and Izukai grimace before running at him again. This time, Kurosuma grabs both of their wrists, flipping them over and slamming them both flat on their backs.
If you can't land to hit a guy like me, you haven't got a prayer against a guy whose top speed is Mach 20. See? We've been sparring for half a minute. You had time to change clothes, make tea, and build a model of a castle.
Kurosuma says while gesturing to our yellow octo teacher.
That is so irritating.
Mayara groans as Kurosuma grabs his and Izukai's hands to help them up.
That's why we drill. When the whole class can hit me, you have a shot. Do what I tell you as often as I tell you to do it. You'll become assassins. This isn't recess, kids. From now on, gym class will be about the basics. Stabbing, correct use of firearms, everything you need to succeed.
Kurosuma says.
Wow, okay.
Sugino says, sounding impressed.
Alright, that'll do it for today.
Kurosuma says, dismissing us. Thank you, sir. We all say as we bow in thanks. After that, we all depress into our own groups. I hang away from upper near the edge of the group. When the bell rings, I move closer to the far near Nagisa and Sugino as we start to walk towards the classroom. Then I notice an unfamiliar-looking redhead at the top of the slope, who appears to be holding a carton of strawberry milk. It seems I'm not the only one who noticed the mysterious figure because the whole class stopped in their tracks once they see him. Nagisa, sup? It's been a while, the redhead says while Nagisa looks shocked to see him. Karma, you're back? Nagisa asks the redhead, who I now know as Karma. Karma doesn't respond, simply smiling instead and ignoring the question.
Oh, hey, that must be the notorious Koro Sensei,
Karma says as he walks straight past me, Nagisa, and Sugino.
Oh, he really does look like an octopus,
he says, stopping right in front of Koro Sensei.
Ah, Mr. Akabane, correct? I understand your suspension ends today. Welcome back. That said, tardiness is a no-no,
Koro Sensei says as he flushes purple with an X on his face before turning back to his usual yellow.
It's kind of tricky getting back into the swing of things. Oh, feel free to call me by my first name. Anyways, I've heard some good things. Teach, nice to meet you.
Karma says as he sticks his hand out for a handshake.
The pleasure's all mine. Should be a fun and educational year.
Koro Sensei says as he accepts the handshake, only for his tentacle to be blown up, making him gasp as Karma tosses up his milk cauldron and lunges at him, though Koro Sensei dodges by leaping back several feet. I stared wide-eyed at the scene unfolding in front of me. Nobody has even put a scratch on Koro Sensei before. Who is this Karma guy?
Ah, you are fast, aren't ya? And who would have known these knives would actually work? I just cut one of them into strips and tack them on. Pretty elementary stuff, Chief.
Karma explains while holding his hand and looking at his palm.
I'm kind of disappointed that's all it took to catch you by surprise. A good jump if you don't mind coming off like a fraidy cat.
Karma adds before walking forward towards his target.
What, are you scared of me?
The redhead taunts as Koro Sensei's tentacle grew back.
I heard they call you Koro Sensei because you're supposed to be unkillable.
He finally stops right in front of Koro Sensei and bends down slightly while smirking.
Oh, come on, there's no way you can be this big of a pushover.
Karma says as Koro Sensei turns red. Not the red he flushes when we get an answer right, but a bright cherry red with tick marks covering his head. Kaino then whispers something to Nagisa that I couldn't quite catch because I, like the rest of the class, am focused on the interactions between Koro Sensei and Karma. Karma then takes out a knife out his pocket and starts playing with it while walking back towards the building and away from our teacher.
Stick around next time, Koro Sensei. I'll show you what it's like to be assassinated. You won't want to miss it.
Karma murmurs as he walks away with a shadow over his eyes. Later in class, we were all sitting down and taking a quiz. Koro Sensei weakly punching the wall, which makes an odd squishing noise every time he makes contact due to the soft rubbery texture of his tentacles. Most of my other classmates look kind of stressed. Whenever it was from Koro Sensei or the quiz, I can't tell. It doesn't really bother me since I'm already done. But I would never let people know that. Getting up to turn your work in first just feels embarrassing for some reason. A few whispers echo throughout the room as I pretend to go over my answers for the third time.
Okay, that's enough! Could you maybe stop that? We're trying to take a quiz here!
Okano says loudly, fed up with our teacher's downcast mood.
Sorry, yes, absolutely.
Koro Sensei says in a guilty tone. You sure know what you're getting yourself into, Karma? The jellyfish is seriously pissed off at you, Tarasuka says, not even trying to be quiet. You can't pay me enough to be in your shoes, Yoshida joins in. If I was you, I'd stay at home with my head under a pillow, Muramatsu adds on. Of course he's pissed. Who wouldn't be if someone made an attempt on their life? Unless the would-be assassin screwed up and pissed himself in the process, Karma says mockingly while looking at Tarasuka. I didn't piss myself. That attitude is going to get your ass kicked, Tarasuka protested.
Quiet, please! No noise during a quiz!
Koro Sensei announces. Tell that to your tentacles, Karma comments. Continue to talk and I will have to assume that you're cheating. Koro Sensei threatens. Sorry, Koro Sensei, my bad. No worries though, I've already finished. I'm just going to eat this gelato if that's okay, Karma says while holding up the strawberry gelato that he didn't have before. That looks suspiciously familiar. It reminds me of the strawberry gelato that Koro Sensei brought from Italy yesterday. Not so fast! No eating in class! Koro Sensei says before realizing that the gelato is indeed the same gelato he picked up yesterday. Hey, that's the gelato I brought back from Italy yesterday! Koro Sensei yells as the rest of us groaned. Why does Karma insist on provoking him? I must admit it is funny to watch, but this is causing a lot of interruptions. Sorry, my bad. I just saw Chili in the faculty lounge, Karma says as if it was perfectly normal for him to have been in there. This won't do, young man! I flew through the coldest air of the stratosphere to keep that delicious treat from melting! Koro Sensei says. Yeah, so? What are you gonna do? Hit me? Karma taunts. Of course not! I'll simply have it back and finish what's left, thank you very much. Koro Sensei says as he marches up to Karma's desk when he is suddenly stopped by a popping noise and an exploded tentacle. I then noticed that BBs are spread on the ground all around Karma's desk. That's 2 hits on Koro Sensei in one day, and no one else has managed one since the start of the school year. Anti-knee BBs? Koro Sensei exclaims in surprise as Karma laughs and starts pointing a gun at Koro Sensei, who keeps moving to avoid Karma's line of fire. Well, that's 2 in one day, Teach. Karma says cockily as Koro Sensei makes a scared noise and Karma stands up and starts walking closer to Koro Sensei while leveling a gun at him. I'm gonna keep pulling the same little tricks. Class will get interrupted, our grades will slip. Let's be straight though, if you want this to stop, you can just kill me.
or anyone else in this class for that matter, Karma says as he smashes the gelato onto the front of Koro Sensei's clothes and starts twisting it. You just gotta let go of wanting us to see you as our teacher, he continues while dropping the cone, which lands on one of Koro Sensei's tentacles. Give us a taste of your ugly side, or you can make peace with all this. Except that I'll be the one to kill you, Karma says. His voice seems slightly deeper than before as he drops in his paper in front of Koro Sensei, who catches it. Here's my quiz, easy peasy. Peace out for now, Teach. Why don't we say we play again tomorrow? Karma then leaves the room with that final remark. He must be here for violence like I supposedly am. Nobody knows the real reason why I'm here. Everyone here probably thinks I was sent here for being stupid, which in a way, maybe I was. Koro Sensei starts wiping out his clothes with a cloth and looking down at the floor. After class, we all turn in our quizzes. There isn't very much talking today. Everyone must be thinking pretty hard about today's events. I go to the pickup area and stand a ways away from Nagisa, who was saying goodbye to Sukino. A few other students that were standing behind us start to make some rude comments about E-Class, but they were quickly shut down by a threat from Karma, who seemingly appeared out of nowhere. Where did he even come from? The redhead then approached Nagisa and they walk off together. Nagisa did mention that they knew each other earlier. My mom finally arrives to pick me up, and I leave. The next day at school, it seemed Karma left a little surprise for Koro Sensei. When Koro Sensei walked in, none of us could meet his gaze. Karma took it way too far this time. At the front of the room sits an octopus with a knife stabbed into it. Good morning, boys and girls. Koro Sensei pauses to look around the classroom. Why the long faces? Has something? Koro Sensei stops abruptly once he sees it. Oops, that's on me. Yeah, I totally thought it was you. Innocent mistake. I stabbed it, so I suppose I should get rid of it? Karma comments carelessly. Koro Sensei sighs before answering. Yes, you should. Koro Sensei does not sound happy. He picks up the octopus and starts carrying it towards Karma, who wears a smirk, which quickly dies when Koro Sensei wraps some of his tentacles into drills and zaps out of sight for a moment before returning with a missile. Observe if you will, Karma, my boy. The versatility of these tentacles and the firepower of this missile you went from the self-defense force. Koro Sensei starts as he proceeds to use the fire from the missile as heat as he makes some kind of food. If you think I'm going to let the new kid get away with murder, think again. He continues as he shoves a piece of takoyaki he just made into Karma's mouth, which he immediately spits out onto his desk. Don't you know breakfast is the most important meal of the day? Your complexion tells me you haven't eaten, so please help yourself to some of this delicious takoyaki. I insist, Koro Sensei says as he holds a plate of takoyaki in one tentacle while offering another piece to Karma with another tentacle. Karma, on the other hand, covers his mouth and gobbles at the teacher with a tint of red on his face. You see, I'm a giver. I take care of things. Hungry students, would-be assassins, troubled teens. Every attempt of my life is an opportunity for me to play my part, so by all means, keep at it. Karma's face then scrunches up a bit as Koro Sensei continues his speech. By the end of the day, if your body and mind aren't to glow with health and knowledge, I haven't done my job. Koro Sensei finishes. After that, it's pretty quiet for a little while, and Koro Sensei goes back to teaching. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see Karma reaching into his blazer as I am in the desk next to his and behind Okada's for what I would assume to be a gun. He then pulls it out and shoots at Koro Sensei, who obviously avoids it. Karma, it takes an anti-me BB far too long to reach its mark, Koro Sensei says, now holding Karma's gun. Karma then looks down at his hand in shock to see that all his nails were now painted. I had time on my hands. I hope you don't mind if I prettified yours, Koro Sensei says with a smirk. Karma looks pissed, like really pissed. He's also kind of growling. His nails do look nice though. Later, it was time for our cooking class. We huddled around tables in groups. I'm with Karma, who has done nothing, and Fua, who is showing our concoction to Koro Sensei. It tastes kind of weird. Maybe somebody should have helped out. Let's see now. How did the three of you do, Fua? Koro Sensei asked the girl. I'm not totally sure. It's got this bizarre tangy flavor to it for some reason. Fua says with a frown. Let's give it a taste, Koro Sensei suggests as he eats a spoonful. It's probably easier if you just start from scratch. Why not toss it out? Karma says as he moves to hit the pot, sending the soup in the air to distract Koro Sensei, and lunges for the yellow octopus with a knife, causing me and Fua to step back in a bit surprised. We wear an apron and helmet, Karma, Koro Sensei says. I then see Karma blushing fiercely while wearing a pink heart-adorned apron and matching hair cover. Oh, and don't worry, the soup is fine. I siphoned it out of the air and put it back in the pot. I also added a dash of sugar, Koro Sensei adds as Fua takes a bite. Fua then gasps as a look of surprise glows on her face. That's exactly what I needed, she exclaims. Cute outfit, Kajima comments to Karma as the redhead angrily rips the hair cover off his head and sighs angrily. Later, we were taking notes. Though Karma looks a bit out of it, he doesn't look to be paying attention to the lecture. As soon as Koro Sensei walks past mine and Karma's desk while reading, the redhead moves his arm to grab a knife, and Koro Sensei immediately reacts by putting a tentacle on his forehead and hand without even stopping his reading. A menacing glint in his eyes as he proceeds to do Karma's hair. Karma just stares at him with a look of shock still painted on his face. I feel a bit bad for him, but he had that one coming.
When school ends, I decide to go and read in the woods for a bit. I make my way to one of my favorite spots near a cliff, and after a few minutes, I notice that Karma and Nagisa had appeared. Karma, who was sitting on a tree trunk that was hanging over the edge of the cliff, seemed to be nervously nibbling on one of his nails as Nagisa observes from a few feet behind him. Come on, man, I'm telling you not to sweat it. We'll do it together as a group. You can have the sneakiest and most foolproof plan in the world ready to go. But if Koro Sensei's got his eye on you, forget it. He's not like other teachers. Nagisa tries to reason with the stressed-looking redhead. Other teachers, huh? No. You don't understand. I want to do it on my own. Let me ask you, would it take you off to die in some random place? Karma asks. This seems to be a touchy subject for him. Oh, Karma! Koro Sensei sings as he approaches the two boys. I feel like I've taken exceptionally good care of you today, Koro Sensei says as green stripes start to fade onto Koro Sensei's face. Keep trying to kill me if that tickles your fancy. I certainly don't get tired of spiffing you up, Koro Sensei says, the stripes fading away and Karma merely hums in response. Just so we're on the same page here, do you pretty much consider yourself a teacher above all else? Karma asks. I know I shouldn't be eavesdropping, but I was here in the first place. I placed my book down, turning my attention to their conversation, though I won't be able to read with all their talking anyways. That's right, Koro Sensei answers. Cool. And you wouldn't think twice about putting your life on the line to save a student, Karma presses. Where is he going with this? What sort of teacher would I be if I did? Koro Sensei answers with a question of his own. That's awesome. Good to know, Carmen replies as he pulls out a gun and then holds it in straight in front of him. So I guess I can kill you, Karma says, before falling backwards off the cliff, causing me to jump to my feet and alert the others to my presence. Me and Nagisa bolted for the cliff's edge as Koro Sensei flew down and caught the redhead in a web of his tentacles, causing him to be unable to move to shoot our teacher, as the tentacles were sticky. After me and Nagisa see that he was safe and talking with Koro Sensei, the blue-haired boy turned to me. Where did you get here anyways? He asked. I was actually here before you were. I actually use this as a reading spot quite often. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to eavesdrop, I said nervously, looking down at the ground. It's fine. It's actually more of our fault anyways. We shouldn't have noticed you were here, Nagisa assures, awkwardly patting my shoulder. No, it's fine. People tend not to notice me anyways, so it's not like you were the first. I should be going now. And I'm glad your friend is safe, I say before turning on my heels and grabbing my book and sprinting back to the E-class building. During school the next day, Karma is a lot calmer. That conversation with Koro Sensei really must have been something. At the end of the day, the redhead devil himself approaches me. I was reading at the base of the tree after class like I normally do when I noticed him leaning on the trunk to my right. So, Nagisa told me you were there yesterday, he remarks. Yeah. Sorry for eavesdropping. It's just that I was already there and I start. It's fine. Nagisa already told me. You really are quite unnoticeable, aren't you? He says more of a statement than a question, which makes me look down a bit, feeling dejected. You should try and speak up more. Let everyone know how smart you really are, he advises. What? I ask, surprised as I look up at the redhead. Don't think I didn't notice how quickly you finished that test a few days ago. Our desks are right next to each other, and you answer everything just as quickly as I did. And from the look on your face when they were returned, I see you didn't do half bad, Karma says with a smirk. Maybe so, but I only look intelligent because of the prejudice surrounding this class. I'm sure you're smarter than me by a long shot, I say while looking away from his golden eyes. I may above you for now, but you only missed 1 point in that quiz a few days ago. You can do even better with a little more work. Anyways, I'm going to be going now. See you around. Karma then walked off, leaving me to ponder what he had said. Was he really paying that much attention to me? That's surprising, and maybe a bit weird. Why did I give her that advice anyways? Probably just because I find her interesting.
She's different from everyone else, not too competitive or eager to show off her skills. She reminds me of Nagisa. I think I'll hang around her more often. I'd like to find out more about who Shay really is.